Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. My next guest is Krista Phillips. She is the Chief Customer and Transformation Officer at M&T Bank. M&T Bank has 22,000 employees. Krista oversees a cross-functional portfolio that includes analytics, customer experience, marketing transformation, and multicultural banking. Her role was created to unify these disciplines and accelerate customer centric growth across the enterprise. Krista has more than 30 years of experience in financial services. She had senior leadership roles at Wells Fargo, Citi, and more. Today, we're talking about their unique approach to customer experience at M&T Bank, what they're doing with AI and analytics, and what she sees as the future banking consumer. Please enjoy Krista Phillips. Krista, a warm welcome to the Modern Customer Podcast. And I'm so glad I've gotten to know you a little bit better outside of the podcast prep because you're part of my CXO house community. So nice to see you today.
It's so great to see you. Thank you for having me, Blake. It's so great to get to know you too.
So you're one of these people that has just really been at the top of their game for a really long time, working in amazing banks all through your career. Now you're at M&T Bank. Can you just talk about how you got into the current role, like the elevator kind of pitch of your career?
Sure. I never thought I would end up in banking, and I don't actually identify as a banker.
Okay.
But I started out in advertising, and one of my first accounts was a bank account. And it was then that I realized that banking's kind of cool. It plays an emotional and rational part in people's lives. And so, from there at a very early age, I started to really understand how to market towards customers about banking. And, on the agency side, you have a different seat. And it was about 2000 that I went over into the banking side. And I had roles such as centralized marketing roles, branding roles, acquisition roles. And at one point in my career, I really wanted to understand how the revenue is made, right? What is this P&L? And took a line job in the credit card space to really understand a lot about the business. And I thought that going into a P&L job was going to make me a better marketer. But what I realized is that going into a P&L job and having a marketing background really made me a better overall leader and businesswoman. And so from there, I've had a ton of different roles, everything from customer experience to branding to marketing to P&L, product innovation. And here I am at M&T. And I'm so glad to be here.
So, something that we've talked about a lot is this CXO role, your chief customer officer and transformation officer. I love that. What does that mean to you to be in that role?
Yeah, I really was intrigued coming into M&T about this role because it is like a mashup of everything that I loved. It really does put the customer at the center, but more importantly, it elevates the voice of the customer internally to the bank. And so I really played that part to bring the voice of the customer and also to make sure that we're having better conversations with clients, customers, and prospects for the bank on their behalf and what is meaning and what matters to them most.
Transformation, I just love even the word, like, because I'm obsessed with customer experience mindset, which I believe is personal transformation as well as corporate transformation. It really means showing up to be your best self or the best version of yourself, or for a company, the best version of your company to provide value to people. What does it mean to have both those titles? Like, how does that look from an operations perspective under your scope?
Sure. I have the honor of leading the teams that oversee marketing, sponsorship, brands, analytics, and also what we call transformation enablement and transformation delivery. And what that really means is we look at how we work. How are we agile? What are we doing for process improvement? What are we doing with change management? And then the most important, how do we put the customer at the center? So customer centricity. And so my teams oftentimes sit at the level of a COE and sharing best practices with the organization, but sometimes they're also in the work. They're doing end-to-end change management. They're doing end-to-end process design, experience design, some of our most strategic projects overall. And then the delivery part is that we govern it. We govern it with best practices from a PMO standpoint, project management office standpoint. And so we want to make sure we set the bar and have best in class standards across the bank. And so I really love this organization that I have the honor of leading because it does reinforce a growth mindset, an innovation mindset, puts the customer at the center of everything we do, and we're able to operate, execute with excellence.
Mhm. Right. I love that. Let's talk about why customers bank with you. What do they get? What makes the experience unique? Like what really makes the customer experience special at M&T Bank?
So I've been a customer of this bank for about 25 years. And I opened my first family checking account when I got married at Wilmington Trust, which is now at M&T Bank. And even though I've worked at many large banks over the years, I've always kept my money with M&T Bank because I knew the local branch bankers and they got to know my family and my kids opened their accounts there. When I was interviewing for this position, I knew what the service model was as a customer. But as I was starting to get to know the company through the various interview process, I really came to understand the culture. And the culture is one that we really deliver relationships with our customers and relationships with the communities that we serve. And so we have, we wear that on our sleeve. And so what our prospects and consumers at large will tell us through various research, this is not just what we believe, but what our customers believe, is that we have a right to win because we know them, we understand them, and we really go to bat for them. And so we're the ones that are always answering the call in a very personalized way. And so we've been doing that for 160 years as a Buffalo-based, company where it started, and we keep delivering that time and time again. And so when you are a customer of M&T, you really do get that small bank feel, that personalized feel with bigger bank capabilities.
Money is so emotional. So I understand that you personally want to keep your money with the bank you felt comfortable with because it can feel nerve-wracking now with so much tech,
Yeah.
so a lack of touch points with the bank and the customer. How do you balance that service with the digital? So balancing the human touch with
Yep.
all of the technology that's exploding today.
Well, we're all at a really pivotal moment. The demands of our customers and consumers at large is one of, right now, here and now, what's in it for me, and it has to be really personalized. And so at M&T, we are so proud that we really understand the communities that where we operate, and we know many of our customers one-to-one basis. And so as we move along I would say, the spectrum of digital capabilities and mature all of our capabilities, not just with digital, but with the phone center and the IVR and all these places where customers will interact with us, we want to make sure we never lose that personalized feel. Overall, we just wanna meet customers where they are. So how do we balance? We wanna make sure when we're having those intimate customer conversations in branches or on the phone or out in the field when we're doing client visits, we also make sure that they're quality conversations, and we can back it up with the tools and the technology and the digital capabilities of a big bank. So, we're really proud that we have these personal relationships with our customers. We're also really proud that we're maturing our digital capabilities so customers have choices because at the end of the day, the customer needs to interact with us. We don't want to always be trying to interact with them.
Right. So much has changed in the last 5 to 10 years in how customers manage their money, how they bank. What is different for you today with customers rather than what happened 5 years ago or before that? How are customers different today?
Yeah, I mean, much more digital. We talked about that. Especially a younger generation. I know my kids don't even know that there's a branch around the corner. Like they'll do all their banking on their mobile app. But what's changed, I'm still surprised at how many people do still go into branches, and want to have that personalized one-to-one live experience in the branches. I'm still amazed at how many people still use checks, believe it or not. But it is changing. The landscape is changing, and the demand is also changing. That people want it here and now. So, for example, we listen to about 500,000 pieces of feedback from our customers every year. And this is through NPS, this is through complaints, this is through all of our touch points where we're able to gather feedback from our customers. And we're able to take that feedback and turn it into better customer experiences. And the three themes that we often hear from our customers are they're complaining about the fraud experience,
Yeah, it's really bad.
payments, like, did my money make it to where it is? Of like, yeah, bill pay, or is this loan funded? And communications. And so what's different from way back when I started, in banking 30 years ago to now is that we can much more quickly adjust some of these experiences based on customer feedback. And where we can't adjust right away, we can be more transparent in our communications and tell our customers why. And so I wish I had a magic wand and I could fix every complaint and every customer experience overnight, but sometimes we can't. And the best thing what we can do to build transparency and trust with our customers is to communicate effectively, right? And openly and honestly and say, you know what, your funds will be in the bank XYZ, or this ATM is going to shut down with the closure of this bank, but the next ATM, was 3 miles down the block or something like that. And so we want to make sure that we're constantly delivering and listening to our customers based on their feedback. And that's what's really different. Back in the day when I started, some of the interaction models weren't as prevalent and they weren't as personalized and they weren't as often and frequent as we have today.
From the customer's point of view, how would you describe M&T right now?
At M&T is a relationship driven bank. And our customers will often say that they love their banker. And so that makes a lot of sense because the size of our commercial bank and the size of our business banking model would lend itself to having those one-to-one relationships with our customers. And our consumers at large will say that we are very community driven, that we're very active in the community and we're there for them. And so we're considerate, we're kind, we're reliable, we're like the steady Eddie, you
Mhm.
know, of the banking world.
And I know you had a brand study recently. How did you do that methodology?
So this was a 9 month long, I would say, endeavor that we went. We were trying to understand a couple things. What does M&T mean to the consumer? What is Wilmington Trust? That's our wealth and our institutional services business. What does that mean? How did the brands work together? We're trying to understand, what does a modern community bank look like today? And so we did a couple different things. We did qualitative and quantitative, work. We did a lot of surveying with every line of business in every region that we operate in, which are 12 states. We also did a lot of, qualitative focus groups. So we went in deep and asked a lot of questions regarding like what was your experience, or if you don't know us, what have you heard? And so we were able to gather many insights that are helping us deliver a refreshed version of ourselves going into next year.
I love that. AI is taking the world by storm. Personalization, faster service, deeper insights. What kinds of use cases do you have for AI? How's it going over there?
Yeah, I mean, well, in the marketing world, we've used automation, machine learning, in everything from like how do we create content to how do we do models for targeting, how do we deliver messaging and in the different channels overall. So we've been using machine learning and automation for quite a while in the marketing world. What's really interesting now is that we can move faster and we can use more AI to create that content, to create those messages in a faster way. I would say the most interesting thing that we're doing regarding AI when it comes to customer experience is how we're capturing feedback. We're using better tooling to capture feedback to get to the root cause of what we talked about the complaints. What are the complaints? Why did it happen? And if you know anything about process mapping, which I would expect your audience knows a lot about process mapping, we can get to what action in the process can we tweak or deliver in a better way to take out that friction. And so we're using different tools to listen to themes, to respond, to understand root cause, and to really serve up better insights to all our business lines and to our technology and to our operations partners so that we can quickly and move away from that friction and get to better outcomes for our clients and customers.
So, one of the things that many chief customer officers are looking into is analytics to anticipate customer needs. Now, with AI, that's only expanding. Can you just talk about the ways you're using analytics to anticipate what customers want?
All right. So there are many ways that we use AI and for insights and analytics to get to better outcomes for our customers. We use predictive modeling. But we also use transaction behavior. We know where customers are spending, what they're spending on. So how can we take all of those insights and use that, turn that into better conversations? So what is the next best conversation that we will have with our customers based on their past behavior? So is that a different type of loan that they need, a different interaction? Maybe it's just simply a happy birthday, Blake,
Love it.
right? So you want to have better, more interactions with your customers based on the data and the analytics that we're able to gather.
Nice. Krista, we've reached the fun part of the interview. Let's get to know you a little bit better. Let's do some rapid fire. Does that sound good?
Sure.
All right. Krista, what's the most important part of your morning routine?
Having my coffee.
You're the second person to say that today. I love it. What do you do to relax at the end of a hectic day?
I like to go, I love to do a lot of yoga, but oftentimes I don't get to do yoga at the end of the day. So I'll do it in the mornings or on the weekend. But I like to just go home to my family and have a dinner and have a glass of wine.
What show are you currently streaming?
I just streamed the third season of The Diplomat,
Yeah, so good, right? Love her hair. Um, what's your favorite type of vacation?
the beach.
If you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Mm. I would like to have one more lunch with my parents.
Nice, very nice. And lastly, if you had to describe your outlook in one quick motto, what would it be?
I would say optimistic.
Perfect. It's beautiful. Well, Krista, this has been so fun. I love interviewing you. I'm so glad I've gotten to know you. And I do really appreciate you taking some time to answer my questions thoughtfully.
Thank you for having me, Blake. It is a pleasure.
All of you, you've been tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. Until next time. Please don't forget to like or subscribe and follow my social content on other platforms where I post content daily, including X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and more.